big news for Juul that they have now authorized a couple of products from the company, albeit they are not the fruity flavors that kind of got Juul in trouble several years ago. So they've now authorized these products. It's kind of interesting what that means for the rest of the sector as well. There's lots of companies that are waiting for any kind of sign from the FDA on whether or not there'll be sort of a wave of approvals now. But yeah, it's certainly interesting news for Juul.
Yeah, can you get into some of the backstory? But the company was kind of hit with a lot of lawsuits, targeting those underage users for the fruity flavors. Can you dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Juul kind of when it was set up, it was a kind of the big great shaker of sort of the industry. It really shook up the big tobacco players with these kind of these sticks, these e-cigarettes they had. They were a little bit stronger. They were really popular with teenagers. Juul had these founders that then sort of managed to sell a stake to Altria, which sells Marlboro cigarettes in the US, and it was kind of an enormous company, multi-billion dollar company. But obviously, it became a bit unstuck. There were accusations that they were targeting underage users. Juul in 2022 had to pay 1.2 billion to settle thousands of lawsuits tied to youth vaping. And since then, they've kind of been in a bit of a hobbled situation. Altria, then sort of made an investment in Enjoy and really rather stepped away from Juul. And now it's kind of 3 years on from that fine. There's a bit of a vindication. The company says it's a really important milestone, and it sort of wants to make the cigarette obsolete, so they say, and now it's sort of they are really trying to market towards adults now and have sort of really looked at the marketing, and that's where they're playing. And it seems the FDA has kind of accepted the studies that they put in, and their products being approved.
So, were the Juul vaporizer thingamajiggies, have they not been being sold here in the U.S. but now they can? Is that, or is it? What's it mean?
My understanding is that there was a stay, so they have been available, but in very sort of small quantities. And what you have seen in the US, that the vast majority of e-cigarettes that you see sort of people smoking or sort of vaping are not in fact made by companies like Juul or any of the big tobacco companies, which sort of require to be a lot more rigorous with their testing. They will largely be sort of the sort of e-cigarettes that are coming over from China. So they are available. There's kind of enforcement has been an issue in lots of places. So there are lots of vapes available, but very few of these have been approved by the FDA. But this is a big, significant moment for Juul.
Sabah, I'm wondering if you can settle this argument that we have in the Mateo household. E-cigarettes versus regular cigarettes. Is there a difference as far as which is better for you? I mean, I don't want to say health-wise, but this is the battle back and forth.
I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, e-cigarettes clearly don't have the tar, the heat that you would get from a combustible cigarette. Some of what people say are the cancer-causing qualities, but with e-cigarettes, certainly they don't smell. I mean, are people using them more? Who knows? But I guess it's that question on whether people view them as less harmful and then are more likely to use them or start vaping in the first place. But certainly, I think the studies do show that not having a combustible cigarette is less harmful. But yeah, it is whether this point about sort of people starting to vape in the first place. But yeah, I'm not a scientist. I'm afraid I can't answer that one for sure.
Sabah, what have we heard from Juul Labs itself here as to maybe what this means for their plans?
Yeah, I mean, my colleague Fiona spoke to the CEO just a few moments ago. He said it was a very important milestone for the company and its mission to make the cigarette obsolete. Juul had to submit more than 110 scientific studies to support this application. So I think it's probably the end of a very long road for them, or maybe even the beginning, because clearly only a few flavors have been approved just as sort of the tobacco kind of flavors, and there's all the sort of the different fruity flavors that are not yet on the list. So for them it is a very significant moment, because there were lots of questions about even whether they would have a place in the market.